Welcome back, everybody. This is Cyborg, joined as always by Temp, and we are doing the Injustice comic series review. We are on year 2, issue number 7, and let's just jump right into this. So if you guys haven't checked the previous episodes out, definitely go do so. Get caught up with the storyline so you don't get spoiled. But we're going to get right into this, and if you like what we're doing here, subscribe, because we got plenty more to come until we get through the entire Injustice series leading up to the Injustice 2 comic series when that is released in April. So we're going to be doing one issue a day, every single day. So anyways, let's jump into this. Alright, so right off the bat, we have a story that I was waiting for them to tell, and here we have Black Canary going to the Arrow Cave, as you could call it, and she is interacting with Oracle, and Oracle... She says she's going to the Arrow Cave to handle some of Ollie's affairs, and Oracle says the Arrow Cave, and that sounds like a dumb name. And Black Canary says, yeah, Harley said that it should be called the Quiver. And then Oracle agreed that that is a better name for it. So it is great that that is brought back once again. So I'm always appreciating of the Quiver name being brought back, because it is a better name. And then she opens the door to the Quiver, as we're going to call it, and all of a sudden we just get an ass shot on Black Canary. Yeah. Just a straight up fishnet ass shot, and then Harley is in the background aiming one of the bow and arrow, or aiming the arrow at Canary, and so they have a little exchange there, and it breaks into a fight when Harley is claiming she's just there practicing her archery, and Black Canary wants her to leave because she shouldn't be there, and they get in a little fight. She immediately throws her slippers that she's wearing, just cute little fuzzy little animal slippers, right at Black Canary. Black Canary catches them because she's quick like a cat, because, you know, Black Canaries are cats.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no,
not at all.
The unit together, Canary and Cat, yes.
Sure.
That is the way she is, yes.
Okay, so yeah, she catches him. And then Harley says, very good. You caught exploding slippers. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing because she said it a lot better than that. But she said, yes, you've caught exploding slippers. And then she goes like she's going to get out of the way. And then Black Canary instantly throws them and then covers her ears. And she's ducking for cover. And then she realizes while Harley's sitting there, she says, those weren't really exploding slippers, were they? And she says, no, that would be crazy. I love that. Oh, this whole thing between these two is good. It's like all the fun of Green Arrow intermingling with Harley, but now we have it with Black Canary. So this is good stuff. I'm glad to see this continue, because Harley's been such a fun character with this series thus far, and Green Arrow was a great pairing with her. And Green Arrow and Black Canary have been a great pairing. So now we're getting Harley and Canary. So this should be fun if this continues. She throws slippers and they realize. And then Harley goes and is about to smash her with the mallet. Black Canary yells, wait, stop. And then she asks for the bucket. And then she starts puking in the bucket. So it's revealed to Harley. Or Harley kind of figures this out on her own, of course. And she says, you're pregnant, aren't you? You're preggo. And not the sauce. Not the sauce. We're talking full-fledged pregnancy here. Full-blown pregnancy. And she assumes it's Ollie's, who she once again mentions his secret identity. And Black Canary's like, you're not supposed to know that. Stop it. We're supposed to be good. The masks are supposed to be enough for us. Anyways, then it gets a little odd, but touching in a way, where Harley kind of opens up about her pregnancy and that she previously had a child named Lucy, and she said she's staying with her sister and she couldn't bring it up to the Joker, so the Joker never knew. She didn't trust the Joker. She didn't in that to raise the child, because she felt like he had better things to do and didn't have time for it and all that unfortunate sad stuff. So her sister's taking care of the child, and she feels like that'll give her a better life. She mentions a funny thing where she likes playing with cars and tutus, and cars with tutus. And then she says something about dancing cars. Like
Yeah,
she's
I
like,
remember that.
and then she's like, a lot of people say that's weird, but I think that's perfectly normal. That tutus on cars and dancing cars and like ballerina cars, and she thinks that's perfectly normal, and that's such a Harley thing to say, and it's just so touching knowing that she's the child's loving mother and she's just as crazy and approves of that and thinks it's fine and dandy, and I think that's great. And it was a touching moment between the two. It's interesting how they played that in there. I never knew of Harley of having a child or anything like that, so I think maybe they just put that in this series for that kind of connection between the two. But obviously they stopped fighting and they don't want to fight anymore because Harley doesn't want to hurt her, obviously, with her being pregnant. But then Harley gets kind of upset when talking about her and the Joker and how I guess she went away for a year during the whole pregnancy thing and he didn't even know she was gone. Or he acted like he didn't know she was gone because that's the Joker. So then she kind of started breaking down. And just overall, but this is basically the entire chapter right there. And this interaction between the two, I thought was great. It was fantastic. There was a lot of chemistry, I think, there between the two as a duo. I think they great comedic foil between each other and just how they present themselves. Canary being more the straight man, but she is the badass chick, but can keep it going. Whereas Harley's more off the wall and bonkers. But they have definitely a great chemistry. And overall, I think if this is how they're going to wrap Harley into helping the entire group and siding with Batman, which is what they were alluding to because Harley asked to help, I think that's a great organic way to make that happen. Because obviously your first thought is, why would Harley team with Batman? Why would Batman accept Harley's help? We don't know that quite yet, but we do know this is likely the introduction of Harley into the group.
Yeah, I mean, they could go either way. They wrote it in a way where if they wanted to backtrack, they could. I enjoyed it with a little more mixed feelings. I enjoyed the fighting. I enjoyed the jokes. Canary and Harley bonding, they kind of lost me a bit there. Harley's a redeemable character in my opinion, but she's not really a sympathetic character in my opinion. Harley has killed people. And redeemable, the reason I say redeemable and not sympathetic is, I mean, there's been a lot of death in this comic, I guess, but I don't know. The thing about Harley is you can't fix Harley. She's crazy. She will never be fixed. You can redeem her, but I don't know if you could ever make her, true good. Not at least without making her uncrazy.
Yeah, you can.
I don't know how. How do we do it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, Harley's a very complex character. Not just in fiction, but in how the character is designed. I still stand by the belief there are many renditions of Harley Quinn, and it's hard to point at one definitive one and say, no, that's Harley Quinn.
Right.
You can do it with Batman. You can look at George Clooney and you can look at the animated series and be like, that's the Batman. You can't really do that with Harley, in my opinion. Even with the animated series, so...
I think there's some sympathetic qualities between the abusive relationship with Joker and just how much he twisted her mind and made her the way she is now. I mean, there is sympathy that she was at one time a doctor, and yeah, it's partly her own fault for becoming obsessed with the Joker and letting it get to that point, but he twisted her mind, and now, yeah, she's killed and done all that stuff, but it's kind of like somebody that was once good got twisted and turned bad by somebody that's just a more powerful, dominant, evil force that was able to manipulate her in that way. But there's still that shred of humanity left with her. I mean, she's not like Joker status. Joker's completely not redeemable, irredeemable, whereas Harley is redeemable to a point. But yeah, I agree with you that she's done a lot of nasty things, so you can't really feel she's not warm and cuddly, innocent character, but at the same time, there is a shred of humanity there still. And when she has the moments where she kind of breaks down and cries, and you realize just how much struggle and how much it probably really does hurt her the way Joker treated her, but she just kind of puts on a smile and keeps on going because that's what you do in those kind of relationships, because she's she's the extreme example of an abusive relationship.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, and that's sort of the paradox of Harley Quinn. Situations like that tend to spiral down. They don't become static.
Right.
which is the weird paradox, I should say, of Harley Quinn. Is she's in this static role of abused spouse.
Sure.
Generally, that is a very dynamic role that changes, and for writing purposes, they can't really change Harley Quinn because if you change her, the charm goes away. But it's not bad though. It's not for me. It doesn't speak to me. But I like the setup. I think Harley Quinn and Arrow were great. I think Harley Quinn and Canary are great. So yeah.
Sure. And then we go to the next chapter, which wasn't quite as enjoyable, but it was kind of setting things up, getting progressing the story in the little bits on the side. We started off with the Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. He makes it back to Oa because apparently they, or OA or whatever you call that, and they can no longer see Earth. It's just completely off their radar. They don't know what's going on with it. Guy Gardner comes in and he says, "I barely escaped. There was a fight. Sinestro's working with Superman. There's a fight between the Green Lanterns and the Yellow Lanterns. So Sinestro Corps. So he tips that off to them, and they now need to come up with an action plan, but they have nothing right away. The humans are basically on their own, or Earth is basically on their own for now until they figure out a way to properly react, because they don't want to jump the gun and play right into Sinestro's hands. And then we move on from there to Bullock, Black Canary, Batwoman, and obviously Oracle working things in the background. And am I missing anybody? There was somebody else there.
Yeah, that pretty much. I think that covers it.
There's
right?
Montoya with Bullock. But yeah, either way, that's what's going on there. They took the Superman pills, as we know, and they're starting a sting on some of the Superman's army soldiers that are walking through Gotham, patrolling the streets. They're seen, holding a kid like off the ground by his feet and saying, you gotta respect the curfew. Gotta respect the curfew. And they don't want to tip their hand, basically, and let them know that they have the Superman pills or that they've taken them. So they try and downplay their powers until the communicators are knocked out. So once the communicators are knocked out, then they go ahead. Oh, Huntress. Huntress was the other one. And they knock out the communicators, and then they just bull rush these guys, take out the soldiers. So that's that. It was kind of an uneventful chapter.
Yeah, and I was kind of questioning whether this plot thread with Commissioner Gordon and his team of pill people was going to be a good plot thread. So I'm still on the line. This could really go sour if they're not careful.
It's very side episode filler going on. It's kind of like they haven't really, other than Commissioner Gordon getting shot in the head point blank by Bullock.
Yeah,
there hasn't been many enjoyable moments just by the fact that, hey, policemen are on the streets now. Bullock and his team are trying to take down. It's like the battle of the little underlings. It's like we're seeing all this is the type of stuff that they can allude to happening without actually showing us in a full chapter. We don't really need to see this, to grasp what's going on. We do see at the end, though, it's worth mentioning, Commissioner Gordon basically stops them from reading the Miranda rights to the soldiers, and he says no, they don't have any rights. They're not criminals. They're invading army. He's gonna interrogate them. So that's going on. So we do have that, but yeah, there's not a whole lot else going on with that chapter. This issue in general is pretty much carried by the Black Canary and Harley stuff mainly.
Oh yeah, and even though I was not entirely uninterested by the Guy Gardner stuff. First of all, you can cut it. It changes very little, except the Guardians are not going to do anything about the Earth Crisis anymore. Right. But the art, Guy Gardner, bad or good, that doesn't really look like Guy Gardner to me. It doesn't look like him. Sounds like Randall from Clerks.
Randall. But yeah, so that pretty much covers this issue. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about. The Harley and Canary stuff, once again, I enjoyed thoroughly, and I look forward to more of that. The Green Lanterns versus Yellow Lanterns and the status of the other Green Lanterns, what's going on with them. They're being held somewhat, but we don't know what's exactly going on. We don't know what's going on with Hal and Jon Stewart, so we don't know what they're exactly doing and how they're taking all this in from Sinestro siding with Superman and Superman wanting Sinestro to stay. So I'm looking forward to more of that. But yeah, this was just kind of like a teaser. We get a little teaser with the Green Lantern stuff, and then the other stuff with the Harvey Bullock and their little team going on. But we didn't get any more Batman, so or what's going on with him. But yeah, either way. So fun issue for the first chapter. The second chapter, a little bit of filler, but there's not really much else to say.
Yeah, I agree. Very much. Yeah, like this was like fictional drywall, which is not always a bad thing. That's fine. That's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
It is what it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow. So stay tuned for issue number 8 of year 2. We'll be putting that up tomorrow. So stay tuned, guys. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace.